Hello everyone, my name is Jaybird and welcome back to Lake of Voices. Let's just jump into it. This one? The two of us make our way over to where we left Lou. Oh. Oops. 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 Was it? Oh, it's this one. Duh. I slowed down to a calmer pace and begin my progress down the western bridge. It would be reckless to consider going against the guide's directions. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, I think I might have... No, this is... No. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Jeez, so let's go... It's almost time. I nod and feel myself grow tense. We truly are about to return to those bridges. All of us wait in an uncomfortable silence until night falls. Whee! Behind me, I hear Bemilay's and Margaret's unsure footsteps. Bemilay's face immediately sours and he is unable to stay silent about his feelings.
So we're going to waste our time standing idly by. There's hardly enough time to make the trip as it is.
Complaining won't make these bridges come any sooner, though I sympathize with your frustrations. The wait had already been tense as it was. Not knowing how much longer it will last makes it that much more dreadful.
Time is by far the least of our worries. On the bridges we are constantly moving.
I wonder if those fires had anything to do with this. Bemilay's words are biting as he wonders aloud. The guide answers Bemilay firmly, wanting to put an end to his speculation.
No. Whatever magic controlling the bridges is inconsistent. Humans haven't found a way to impact it. We can only do temporary physical damage to the boards.
Bemilay is still displeased. Margaret moves into discussion. Bemilay spits hatefully under his breath.
Of course you would.
True, generosity is not something I would expect from the guide, but that is not the conversation we need to have at this moment. Good suggestion, Kika.
I'd say that's likely our best option, and we don't have time to come up with any other way regardless.
I take my place in the middle of the shore while Bemilay and Margaret hover closer to the island's core on the line between dirt and sand. I cry out desperately into the void where Margaret and Bemilay stood. Oh.
What happened?
Silence. Bemilay has placed his hand on her shoulder.
I didn't see the thing either. The monster blended in far too well with the dark, crooked trees of this place.
He gives me a sad smile as I approach the two closer.
We can make a small fire for light.
Bemilay begins to gather dry twigs, stones, and grass to craft a fire with. Margaret stokes the fire with Bemilay feeding in twigs. Margaret attempts to smile at me and Bemilay waves as I cautiously back up to my original position. Throw the lantern. Now. Bemilay starts to laugh incredulously through uneven breaths.
Such recklessness. I can hardly believe it worked.
Yes, You could have burnt your fingertips off, or perhaps the bridges could have gone up in flames. Margaret looks at him curiously. Bemley gives her a wink.
That would have been the outcome if I was handling the torch, you think?
Margaret's lips quirk into a smirk.
Yes.
Just yes.
We need to start walking.
I can stay ahead and between the guide's light and yours. I will be fine there. All that I become fraught. At that I become fraught with worry. I look over at Bemley, concern riding through my body as I wonder how he'll fare being so far away from a light source.
Well, the three of us could walk together. If there's one person close by, I can't imagine it would make much of a difference having another. Furthermore, I believe we've all taken enough risks for each other already for this to not be a problem.
Bemley and I confer with our eyes before silently agreeing with one another. We nod.
Okay, we'll do that.
There likely isn't a reason for it. It's just another piece of madness.
The unnatural black water has a great deal of magic within. That is the most reasonable source of the bridges.
Haha. The guide breaks his cautious
Where
steps.
I am now is solid. You all
We'll be right there. To ensure that there is enough light for all of us, I will...
Bemley elects to lead and starts going forward, inching gingerly across the trembling boards. After some distance, Bemley's foot has snapped through the bridge! Wait, timer. Despite every cell in me screaming to help, I force myself not to make any of his own movements. Bemley lifts his foot up from the cusp of the water and places it back on the board in front of him. Thank goodness, the entire section could have collapsed. Margaret looks at us.
A part of the board broke. Everyone is fine, however. You should avoid that section completely.
All right.
That's insanity! Your staff creates more than enough light for the four of us. We could easily follow at a distance you would feel comfortable with.
Someone who wants to live will share their light with no one. I will not share my light with three.
He almost snarls at us.
After everything that's happened, all that we've done, you're going to abandon two of us this easily? You truly are a bastard.
Woo!
Stop. If you take so much as one wrong step towards him, all the guide will do is flee. There is no chance that fighting will end in more people surviving.
Bemley doesn't say anymore, but grits his teeth. Bemley glowers at the guide hatefully. Beside me, torrent of thoughts rip through my mind.
Kika.
By stiffens. I'm nowhere near as sharp as you are. We both always knew that. There's a fragile, self-deprecating smile on his face. It makes my heart ache.
My lantern broke because I foolishly dropped it. And I've already lost my glasses, so...
I shake my head, refusing to watch them give up so easily. I won't go. Let someone else stay. Having lost his patience, the guide points a finger at Margaret almost accusingly.
I've noticed the attention you've given her. Is that what this is about? Do you want to sacrifice your position to give her a hope of safety? Or perhaps you would prefer the both of you being left so you remain together? Or does your relationship not matter after all, and you don't care who gets the chance as long as you avoid a sense of guilt?
You're completely mad! Kika's reaction is what any normal human being would have. You can't pretend she's to blame.
I am aware. No one should have to take on such a grim task. That was why I did not ask it of you. I did it myself. However, that wasn't agreeable, so now the choice is hers, and it is time to decide.
I look over at Margaret and Bemley, hot tears flowing from my eyes. Take Bemley. The guide regards me with an unreadable expression. Without another word, he turns around and begins to walk down the bridge. Startled by the action, I take a step towards him. He turns just slightly to speak over his shoulder.
If any further discussion is needed, then you will have to do it amongst yourselves.
The guide pauses for a moment.
If you wish, you may follow. No one else is to do so.
He stares straight into Bemele's face, referring to him without saying so directly. I stand frozen in place, shocked, as the guide gets further away. It sinks in that the guide is actually leaving. He won't be coming back. I whip towards Bemele.
You have to go.
Bemele gapes at me furiously.
If the choice was between the two of us, you should have gone.
The people need you more than they need me, Bemele.
That's a lie. Even if it weren't, I wouldn't care.
I don't intend on leaping into the lake. I will find a way to manage. I'm sharp and quick-witted, after all.
I weakly grin. Bemele grimaces at the way I turn his own words against him.
Be safe, please. There isn't time left.
Bemele covers his eyes with his hand.
Damn you.
Am I making you cry? His face softens.
I will see you again. Somehow.
I look forward to it. He lingers for only the briefest of moments before turning on his heel to catch up with the man who's no longer my guide. It was almost unbearable seeing him so hurt. He wanted to protect me as much as I wanted that for him. However, I still hold to my decision. My only regret is that it wasn't only myself who was left in the dark. We both stand alone, consumed by a creeping darkness. I gulp in a breath and exhale it slowly. My eyes are drawn back over to Margaret. It is difficult to face her after the choice I made, yet I am determined to accept my own decision and do whatever I can in order to still assure her safety. Margaret stares at me wordlessly with intensity. I feel compelled to look away from her again. I refuse to give in to that temptation. Neither of us say anything as we watch the other. Margaret's narrowed eyes never waver as she peers into mine. What could she be thinking of? I can only guess. After a moment longer, Margaret sighs and breaks the staring war by looking downwards. You mean a staring contest?
We can't be that far from the shore by now. We may as well try to make it there, right?
Right. But
My sentence trails off as I drown in my regrets. Margaret shakes her head lightly.
Let's not talk about it. If I were in your place before, it's not as if I would have been able to make a better choice.
She pauses for a moment to furrow her eyebrows.
And it is my own foolish fault that I ended up in this situation in the first place. Blaming you for any of it would be the act of a child.
It is painful to hear her speak in such a way. I don't deserve this much understanding, not after what I did. Still, she has a point. I shouldn't get caught up in my desire to apologize. This isn't over yet. The two of us dash forward and take another branching path out of the bridges. Margaret teeters a little behind me and puts in her all to keep up the pace, despite the fact that it's clear she doesn't have very much experience with this kind of thing. Wait! We're waiting the timer. I keep a firm hold on the hilt of my sword, however I make no moves to draw it.
It isn't safe to get near those things without a light. And besides, I have an idea.
I steal a glance at Margaret between keeping an eye on the groups of monsters surrounding us. She delves a hand into her pocket and retrieves a small book. She opens it up and tears out a page of the thick paper. She pockets the rest of the book and crumples the paper into a ball. Margaret looks up at the creatures herself to make sure that they haven't drawn too near, eyeing them intensely. She pulls something out of her pocket, and with a start, I realize that it's a match. Surely she won't. Margaret catches on to my worried expression and shakes her head.
I'm not going to throw this onto the bridges, if that's what you're thinking.
She focuses back to her supplies and ignites the match. She lights the paper ball on fire and tosses it off the side of the bridge, directly into the water. The incoming light scares off some of the Nixie, who scatter back into the depths. Amazingly, the light isn't immediately extinguished. It continues to burn atop the surface. The water is too dense to be disturbed by the slight weight of paper. I crack a large smile at the sight.
That's excellent. You are truly clever.
Look at that smile, though. Margaret flushes me a grin of her own.
I would certainly hope so, considering how much credit I've rewarded myself for my supposed intelligence.
She creates a few more paper torches and starts walking forward, tossing them on the lake in all directions. I follow along behind her, watching as the remaining Nixie retreat further away from the multiplying lights dancing on the water. As soon as the area is thoroughly cleared of danger, the two of us march on ahead. The sloshing sound of water captures our attention. I look back. There's motion from under the surface, enough to begin displacing water. The lights start to go out from the splashing, if not becoming completely swallowed by the lake. Margaret and I share a glance with one another before mutually deciding not to linger. We start rushing across the bridges with renewed vigor, and don't stop until the wet suns of the crooked monsters are long behind us. I take advantage of the break to look around with more care. It is nothing but the essence of Sinlos, bridges, fog, and the lake itself. I can see neither the interloping guide's light nor the shore. We are completely and utterly lost in this labyrinth of ever-changing bridges. The atmosphere surrounding this place is even more oppressive and dense in the dark. Now that I've been forced to take in our situation, I am engulfed by the sheer emptiness of it all. The silence is deafening. It then dawns on me what that means. Blackwater. It's unbelievable. Yeah, we've seen this before.
Of course.
I feel a surge of hope up in my chest.
What are you talking about?
Margaret asks me through her exhausted, wheezing breaths.
There aren't any Nixie in this area of bridges as far as I can tell. We may not have to worry about them for now. We should take this opportunity to fully rest. Then we can progress somewhat slowly for a time. Capturing the attention of those beasts with loud steps is something we must avoid.
She perks up.
Yes, you're right. That sounds like a plan.
The two of us stand quietly together, regaining our strength for the path ahead. Being in such complete isolation with no end in sight is a strange sensation. It drains me of motivation, making me feel as though our existence has already been lost. But one look at Margaret is enough to shake me of such notions. We can't give up now. Despite the nothingness that encompasses us, we still have much to lose. After a short period of time, we start to make our way across the bridges as cautiously as possible. Margaret and I walk together side by side. We stay ever vigilant for any sounds of danger from the lake. Hey guys, I think I'm gonna end it here. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this episode of Lake of Voices and would like to see more of this game, then leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, ring that notification bell, and remember, die safely. Bye-bye!